Hey everybody, this is True Stars TV, and this is Gwen O'Donnell here, and
GM Tom.
I'm Emily Carrig. Um, so today we have a really special panel for everyone. We're going to be talking about Phygital and how Phygital can benefit creators. Um, we have two expert panelists here with experience in the fashion industry, and they're working on some really pioneering, amazing things. And we're going to let them introduce themselves. But first, how are you doing, Gwen? What's up?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited about these women. I mean, like you said, they're pioneers in this industry, and it's just really nice to see them taking the helm at in such a big way. I think it's going to be very informative to people who are wondering, how can I bring my designs into the world of fashion?
Yeah, totally. Like, I think what's cool about Web3 is that it's allowing a democratization of so many different industries. So I'm excited to learn what these ladies are working on, and they're going to school us about it. So, but yeah, other than that, like, exciting times in the crypto space. We have Ethereum pumping now, which is
Yep.
pretty cool.
And meme coins are going insane, which we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
right now it's getting crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like the flavor of the month.
It's like the
So,
flavor of the minute, right? I mean, I
yeah.
was thinking this morning how Doge was like the thing, and then Shib came as like, oh, another dog coin. Now there's like 100 dog coins.
Yeah, now it's the cat coins that
Yep.
are outperforming them. So,
So
all
cat.
right. Well, I know everyone didn't really come to hear about all the degen stuff,
True.
but so let's just like dive into things. We have Shreya Bhan and Louise Laing. So I'm going to bring them on to the stage here.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
GM,
ladies.
DM girls. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. So I'm actually going to manage some things backstage, and I'm going to have Gwen do all the moderating here. So let's, I guess, take it over, Gwen.
Okie dokie. All right. Well, as we were saying earlier, we're in this world of Web3, which, as most of us know, like many industries, it's a lot of boys. There's the crypto bros, there's the tech bros. Today we have a couple of women that are absolutely killing it in the game of Phygitals, which is so cool and new and exciting. So we're just really proud that they came on to True Stars, and they are Shreya Bhan and Louise Laing. And could you girls, we'll start with Shreya, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing?
Absolutely. I'll try to keep this a bit short because it's a long journey and there's like a lot to discover. But I basically started working in the fashion industry right after my design course, and I've been a part of the industry for 13 years now. And it was 4 years ago when I started Brushbound, which is my brand. It started off as just a fashion brand and then sort of moved into art and Web3. And now I happily call it a phygital brand because I think there is a lot that both the digital and the physical realm has to offer for a fashion brand. So it's basically more spaces to explore and more spaces to sort of express yourself. So that's what I am up to these days, and I'm very excited to talk more about the phygital side of things.
Thank you so much. And Louise, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've studied fashion as well a long time ago, and then went into the corporate world, really in the kind of the product supply chain area. And I spent a long time working, 15 years doing, I guess, going into companies, streamlining their production, saving them money, was all about cost, delivery, and quality. And then I did that for 15 years. And then I set up my own consultancy where I really supported creators to have their own fashion collections. And during that time, I was also the CEO of a fashion brand called Shrimps. And I did that for a very long time and grew that. And, I think for me, and I always say this, there's fundamental problems within a big corporate, a startup, or a middle kind of size company like Shrimps. And it's all to do with, the cash flow, the fact that you have to buy, buy your raw materials and predict what you're going to sell 9 months in advance. It's very broken. It's very archaic industry, and it's very difficult to kind of survive. And you don't know what consumers are going to buy, which is why I just got really fed up of the whole kind of ethos of that industry and the overproduction. And so I set up PhygitalTwin to basically use technology that exists within the market right now, like 3D technology. We use AI to be able to kind of test demand first and then make goods afterwards. And we're really, focused on gaming companies and creators. And our real aim is to sort of enable everyone to have their own fashion collection. So democratizing and disrupting the kind of archaic industry that, exists.
Wow. Okay, well, that's a great introduction. So I think probably what we should do, because I'm sure that there's some people listening that have heard about Phygitals, and maybe they kind of sort of think maybe they know what Phygitals are, but not sure how they might apply to maybe what they're doing or the businesses that they're building, and certainly people interested in fashion. So could you both take a whack at it? Just tell us what is a Phygital, and how does it apply to fashion in the industry? And I guess we'll start
I'll
with
start with that.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, like, to me, Phygital is, it's just two different ways of you can express yourself. Like, for example, if you have a fashion garment, you have a physical fashion garment, but you could also have like a wearable in a game, or a digital wearable. So I feel like, to me, it's just the coming together of both those things and sort of connecting the two things, because let's be honest, we do spend a lot of time digitally, and, like, we're online all the time. I feel like we all have sort of alter egos online as well. So if I'm wearing something in real life, and if I have something which is similar to what I have as a digital wearable, I think that would make a lot of sense for me. And I think that is where the world is moving. And I think it's definitely been because of the influx of gamers, and how that industry has become absolutely massive, and how, it's not just earlier when we used to play all these games, there were like 4 different outfits, and now people are, enjoying themselves, trying out different outfits. And I think, why not? If we can do that in the physical world, we should also do that in the digital. And so that coming together of both the things and sort of connecting the physical and the digital is what Phygital is to me. But I'll let Louise take on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think the gaming side is like, we can start there, because that's where I saw it first. I saw, the Generation Alpha. My daughter's even like playing in these Roblox games, being really inspired by digital fashion. And actually, that's like the first touch points for them to a brand. So there's a huge amount of like customer acquisition that's going into Roblox and other games through these, by these big brands. So it kind of really started to kind of take off then, I think, during COVID, when people weren't going out and people were, like expressing themselves digitally. And it's just mushroomed. I think that the word Phygital means so many different things. Like, you can really use it to say that we're reimagining different worlds. Like, it's not just about clothing, it's about imagining different spaces that we could live in. Like, there's a client that we not live in, but actually experience, is a client that we have who's building cities, digital cities of Paris, like Dubai, all of the major cities. And in these cities, you can go, there'll be virtual worlds. So if you want to go to a hotel in Paris, and you can go into this digital world, and you can actually go and experience the hotel before you book it. So, their idea is that we all have this, everything is actually Phygital. So everything that exists in this world will exist in the digital world. And of course, it's like hospitality, retail are those 2 main areas that it would really benefit. And again, I think from a fashion perspective, we're really focused on, let's start with the digital first. We're a digital first company. That's what we really care about. Let's just work with a digital asset. And then once we've got that validated, once creators have proven that they've got demand, once they've got customer demand, like, then make it. Like, and that sort of it's turning it itself on its head, because the fashion industry go from physical to digital. That's what all the big brands are doing, but I don't see that solving any other problem. There's obviously digital only companies. That's not affecting the way that fashion works necessarily. You know, it's, we can use the digital first, test it, validate, and then make the physical. Even it doesn't have to be on demand, but just using short lead times, just being reactive to the market. I think for me, from a product perspective, this is really our kind of our mission is we're only digital first.
Oh my God. I mean, that's mind blowing. That is mind blowing, you know, really just taking it, like you said, flipping it on its head and thinking digital first is just like, oh my God. So up until like recently, like it's been mostly like luxury brands, like legacy brands, right, that have been going into these things, into like creating skins and stuff like that. And I know you can go into certain malls and buy digital twins of Gucci bags and things like that. So do you like, is now with you guys, what you do, I think maybe you could talk more about what your different companies do, because I think it's very interesting to imagine people being able, like this whole democratization of fashion. Like, will we be able to, like, let's say I'm an artist and I say, oh, I want to make a bunch of dresses with my photography all over them, and I'm going to then sell them, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, even though I have no experience in fashion. Is that a thing that could be, I mean, I know there's smaller things that are like that, but could this be something that blows up the entire fashion industry where just regular people are creating fashions, and then what happens to Gucci? I mean, what happens?
So I think that, you know, because of a lot of discussion on NFTs and a lot of discussion around art, um, it became very obvious that a lot of projects were interested in actually creating physical merchandise, which is called merch, right? Which a lot of projects have been doing for a while. And I think that kind of also led to having a digital with a physical sort of connected. And actually creating a garment and having a collection is a very tedious process. I'm sure Louise agrees because we've done this for so many years, and it is something that is based on prediction. A lot of it is, you know, you have to see what's sold in the previous collection, then you have to sort of, you know, buy your raw materials already, and then it is a little bit of a gamble every single time that you produce a collection. And I feel like if an artist really wants to try something out, they should try it on a smaller scale, but they should also try to understand the kind of steps that are involved in actually creating a fashion collection. um, it honestly starts with, obviously, of course, having like a design process in mind and a mood board and things like that, where you kind of understand what the aesthetic of your brand is going to be or the aesthetic of your collection is going to be. And after that, like the actual, you know, production process and the sampling process is actually has too many technicalities which need to be taken care of, and that actually comes with a lot of experience. But what, you know, what we can do is sort of help them, you know, sort of consult with for them, or like sort of make that process easier for them and take on those kind of responsibilities, because we've done this in the past. But I think the most important thing is just to understand that the process is not as simple as it seems. And as glamorous as the fashion industry is on the outside, it is not glamorous on the inside. And there is a lot of work that goes in the back end. Like, there are massive teams that have to, you know, sort of, there's a sourcing team that needs to find out where the best raw material can be bought from. There's a sustainability team to make sure that, you know, all the raw materials that have been procured have been sustainably produced. There's a sampling team, there is a pattern making team, there is product development team, there's production, there's marketing. All these aspects are there, which um, you know, you have to sort of think about all these things before you jump into it. But the best part about, you know, having or starting something at this stage, because there are so many projects doing that and there's so many individuals getting into it, is that you start small. And it's not something that can't be done. It's just you just have to reach out to the right people and sort of help them guide you and take you through the process. And you know, that's something that I'm doing with my brand as well. So in case of, like, if I'm talking about the Phygital aspect of it, I started it with an NFT project of 50 NFTs. And if you're a holder of one of those NFTs, then you get to sort of co-create with my brand. So the brand that I have is absolutely maximalist and has a lot of colors. And, as I was putting my art out, a lot of people were like asking me that they would love to wear this jacket or wear that shirt. So I completely started doing the designing basis on what the demand was, like Louise was saying earlier, that like if it needs to be a bit more demand driven that it is right now, and that's the reason it's one of the most polluting industries. So how I sort of brought it together was that if you hold one of the NFTs, you can sort of co-create with the brand. And to co-create, there are about 300 designs that I created on Clo 3D, which is I think the most incredible software ever, which is making our lives a lot easier. And I feel like everyone should sort of learn it if they're interested in being a part of the fashion industry. So yeah, I've created those 300 designs there, and they can choose whichever one they like. And there's no prototype that is made. It's just straight goes into production, and the garment is sent to them, so they can actually have a look at what it looks like because of Clo 3D. Because the kind of digital garments you can create on that are so close to the actual physical garments that it's not very hard for you to visualize what the garment is going to look like at the end of the day. And of course, then there is another aspect of it that when they get a physical garment, it comes with the NFC chip, which basically you tap your phone on it and you can see where it was made and you can get all of that information. So that's how I am doing it for my brand, and I hope to help other brands do that as well, because it is a very polluting and not one of the industries that everyone looks up to when it comes to sustainability. I don't think it's necessary to just have sustainable production. It's very important to have a sustainable design. And I think that's what even Louise is striving to do. And that's why we kind of come together in this aspect of fashion.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds to me from what you're saying that the fashion industry, the legacy brands are safe. Like, they can't be really replaced. But what they do need is they need people like you, people like Louise, who are saying, okay, we understand this digital world and we can help bring you in a way that's seamless so that, and yeah, okay, that's, you guys are really illuminating for us.
There's a lot of gatekeeping that happens in the fashion industry. And I think because of the influx of gaming and digital, avatars and digital wearables, I feel like it has humbled down the bigger heritage brands a bit, and they have had to sort of work with gamers and devs to sort of understand this industry and capitalize on the younger audience as well, because those are the ones who are spending all the money on their digital avatars. So I think it's a good mix because now there is more focus on smaller players as well.
Okay, wow, thank you. So Louise, tell us about, it sounds to me like with this whole digital world, digital first, it could be very good, because I think a lot of the times when people think of Web3, especially they're talking about crypto and Bitcoin and all this stuff, it's taking so much power and it's terrible for the environment. That's the big reputation that comes with anything to do with Web3. And it sounds like what you're up to is absolutely the opposite, which is sustainable things, being able to save, of course, power, but also saving waste of fabrics, materials, electricity, all the kind of things that would come into like creating these things. And also just time and the risk that it takes to like create some stuff. So tell us more, because I'm just fascinated by everything you're doing that's actually going to change not just the fashion industry, but like the world.
Thank you. I think, look, also cost. So cost is really important. So if you're reducing waste, you're reducing cost. And if you think back, like historically, fashion designers have all been to, prestigious colleges. It's cost a lot of money to get them there. And then to start a fashion brand, I've done a lot of startups, honestly. I've worked with some that have hemorrhaged 300,000 and they've had to buy lots of stock. They've paid influencers and it hasn't worked. It's been, I've seen money just disappear, and it doesn't mean to say they don't have a good idea. But there's a huge amount of people that have great ideas that don't have 300,000, that don't even have 50,000 pounds to start a fashion brand. And that's what we're, you know, kind of, I think that's what's so fascinating now about the culture and the, you know, this creator economy that's booming. You've got influencers, you've got, you know, creators that are going in and they're designing Roblox skins. Like there's 65 million digital assets were created and like 65 million creators actually created and sold digital assets in Roblox just alone. And you've got, you know, AI artists that, I mean, we follow a lot, and there are so many amazing like students. They might not even be studying fashion, but now they're creating. Anyone now can be a creator, and I just love that. You don't have to have this kind of the money in the background. It's like there's kind of, it needs to be more diverse. Why should fashion be so exclusive? And so what we, you know, we built to a library of over 250 patterns, all different shapes and sizes. So we believe that we can now help designers get a fashion collection to market for, you know, less than 5,000, if, you know, and that would include like all of the samples. I mean, it still sounds a lot, but that would be for a collection. But if they just want to do a hoodie, you know, it's like, it's £50. So you already have all the patterns there. All they have to do is like upload a print, and the manufacturing is there. They can create the digital themselves, or you can test it on the market, you can build up demand, and then you can kind of, we built a marketplace where you creators can open stores and basically sell their own product. Because even starting an e-commerce store is, you know, 3 to 7, or you've got to know how to actually you know, program and code it, which not everybody does. So it's really about breaking down these barriers to entry for all of these kind of burgeoning talent. And you know, why should it be for the privileged anymore? I'm sort of very, very against that. And in terms of your long, you know, sort of original question about can fashion be, I mean, what we do, there's still a cost to it, but like we are really focused now on building technology that will automate the whole entire process from kind of digital to physical. Because even 3D design, it's not, you can create a pattern in it, but it doesn't have seam allowances, it doesn't have notches, it's not technically sufficient. It's if we get a 3D design from a designer, we have to start the pattern again. AI design is obviously just a flat generated image. It has no training on what is, you know, feasible for production or not. So it's just an inspiration image. And so we are trying to connect these dots. That's what we're doing, from digital to physical, so that it's more seamless, so that, you know, like, I guess what now costs a few thousand could actually just be a B2B SaaS.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, that's where, the future.
And do you guys feel like now with all this AI stuff and with being able to do stuff digitally, it used to be, and I'm sure it still is, but like with a fashion show or even car shows, the designs are wild, you know, they're crazy. But then by the time they get to the showrooms, they're just sort of so watered down. It's like another black suit, another beige outfit, you know. It just feels like what happened between the runway and the store, you know. So I'm thinking perhaps now that you're like blowing my mind, like maybe some of these fun designs that were the original thing that the artists were thinking, now with it being digital, you know, if we're wearing it in a game or we're wearing it in a meeting in the metaverse, we can wear these crazy things, right?
Absolutely, I agree. You will always find me in black clothes otherwise, but I think because yeah, but all the wearables will surely be like maximalist and huge and with a lot of colors and prints. But yeah, I feel like, you know, the point is that there's a lot of innovation that can be done, and at least you can try to, you know, sort of create these digital wearables where, you know, which are like wacky, like you said, and like really couture, and like I think everybody would like access to these things. And that's what I meant when I said that, you know, the fashion industry is a little like, there is a lot of gatekeeping that happens, and you don't really get access to all these things because of the cost. But if you are wearing them as digital wearables, although they will be expensive, it's not like they won't be. But if you're creating them yourself, you have, you know, there's nothing stopping you. You can create whatever you want. And I think a part of it is also, the filters and things that started on Snapchat and Instagram. That was also sort of a part of it. So there are all these little things that have kind of led to this point where, we have reached a digital fashion world.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, I think, for its self-expression. And I think what's interesting when we talk about Phygital and we're working with companies who want to kind of have a digital presence, but like want to ideate, a gaming company, for example, want to ideate the physical. It's like a Venn diagram. Look at what we have in the middle, which is the Phygital, and then there's going to be crazy stuff that you could never make that. But that's what's fun about a game. You have the bit in the middle that's actually would translate, and then the kind of boring bit which nobody would ever wear in a game. So it's that middle part. But yeah, it's interesting because people can also be who they're not.
Yeah, that's why I keep saying alter egos, because I think that works really better.
Different, I mean, have a Kim Kardashian bum if that's what you want,
Yeah.
you want to be, and nobody will ever know. And I think that's what's so fun about it.
That is really cool that you can wear, like, I mean, my experience in this stuff has been so far, I'm just moving in slowly, and I was at a meeting in a metaverse situation, and they have a place where you go in and you change into your whatever you want to wear, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was having so much fun. Like, I put on antlers and a tail. I was just like, who cares? It was fun. And I actually made some really fun contacts with people, and now I know them as humans and not like, being an ant, whatever thing with an antler, but it's really neat. So as far as like, here's one thing that you guys have brought up that I really didn't understand, and I think I'm starting to understand now. And that is, I was like, how the heck, like when you see these brands, like let's say Burberry, right? In Roblox, like I couldn't understand, like what kids are wearing that, like how it what, but now I understand. Basically, it's like planting this stuff early, right? So these brands are like planting themselves in these games. So these kids are like growing up with these things, right? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I just could say something quickly because it's
Sure.
about wholesale as well. Like if you think about like Tommy Hilfiger, Burberry, they are predominantly wholesale businesses. And if you're a wholesale business, you don't understand who your customer is because your customer is the wholesaler. And I think that these gaming channels are a really, really good avenue for them to reach directly to their customers and new customer acquisition. Of course, they can't afford Burberry outfit, but they'll have it in their mind.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually a really important point, because I think that's something that a lot of brands don't realize when they start. Like, even if it's a small brand, when they start off, you have to understand that there's a wholesale and like a retail aspect of it. And they're very different, and you have to cater to them very differently. It's almost like a B2B and B2C. And I think what is different now is that because smaller brands are getting into it, or bigger brands are trying to understand that they need to build a relationship with their customers. Like if you look at fashion in general, like there is no relationship or engagement that lasts longer. Once you've bought something, you might go to that shop again, but like it's not something, you're not interacting with your customer every now and then and understanding and getting a feedback from them as much as you can, do now with like NFC chips or mailers. And in fact, if you buy some digital wearables using a crypto wallet, you can actually message them every time there's a new discount or something on the brand, or and there's so many interesting things that are coming up because of the use of technology. But a lot of it has not been tapped, or not have been used as much as it should be. And I think that is also something to understand, that like there are a lot of different interesting technological advancements which are not actually being used as much as they should be. In fact, I think NFC chips are something which is now becoming like a mandate in the EU, that every product needs to have a digital passport, which is something which I don't think anybody would have thought of 2 years ago, would have understood that it's actually going to become a mandate. So I feel like all these little aspects are there, and that's why, because it's all technology and it's gaming and all of that, like you said, that they're kind of tapping into the younger audience. And because I think before this, they were not understanding that a lot of money can come from there, because if the kids are being bratty and they want a LV jacket, or like they want something to like a digital wearable in the game, then they're going to ask their parents for it, and they will probably get it. And that's where the influx of money comes in also from. So it I think like it was not something that most of the brands were thinking of, but it's almost become like a necessity now to kind of enter the market from that aspect as well.
Yeah, and they can co-create, like Shreya, does. You can co-create with their audience in the game. Like Tommy Hilfiger has a user-generated facility where they actually can use the IP to create new, like Tommy Hilfiger garments, and like that would have been unheard of like years ago. Brands would never give anybody their IP, but actually in a digital world, that it proves that the engagement is, attention is increased and enhanced.
I mean, do you feel like, it seems to me that all the terrible things that came of COVID, and many did, it really did a lot though for this whole digital world. And I mean, I think we all realized that we still needed to be connected, right? So then we found all these different ways to connect. And I think that when everybody was in their homes, actors, famous musicians, and all of a sudden now we're able to see them in their homes, in their kitchen, playing their guitar, on the porch or whatever. It was just, people never went back from that. We never went back. Like we expect to see celebrities in their kitchen. We want that, right? And so I think that this digital native digital stuff that these younger people, that's how they grew up. And so it's absolute, you guys are so on the cusp. I'm so proud of you, because you're bringing these young people into this world, and then these, I'm saying legacy heritage brands or whatever, they realize, oh my gosh, we need to get in. And they realize now they have so much to gain, because of course, even like if you have an Hermes purse, now you can have the NFC chip. And so there's no more fake stuff. So there's so many cool things that they can benefit from. And you guys are at the forefront of this. So kudos. You guys are
trying.
really cool.
I think it's also really, really interesting about, fashion trends, looking at fashion trends and how they used to be set. If we think about, like Burberry or Gucci, or any of these, they were always the trailblazers, and all the fast fashion, we're copying them after the catwalks. Now, I feel like trends are being created in TikTok and in gaming, and they're going viral very, very like quickly. Like there's a lot of examples that I think it was the Logan, the energy drink, and it got so popular from going viral on TikTok that there was queues outside of every single supermarket to buy it, and they didn't have enough stock. It didn't last. Now the bubble's gone, but like it's just like trends are coming and going, and they're not like these 6-month cycles anymore where brands are in charge. I think they've lost kind of there's now lots of different trends, and now the creators and the younger generation are kind of creating their own.
Yeah. And I also think like a lot of fashion brands, just thinking about sustainability, have gone to seasonless, cycles. They have completely eradicated like spring, summer, autumn, winter, and all of those things. They've made it very seamless. Like there's a lot of talk about having capsule pieces in your in your wardrobe, so that you can wear them throughout the year. There's so much more emphasis on how you style your clothes so that you can wear a single piece in many different ways. So I think there are all these little trends that have led to all of this happening at this point. And I think, I mean, honestly, on the if you look at it, the larger picture, I think it's great for the environment, like for all of these things to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Agree. Hi,
I just
Emily.
wanted to pop in. Hey, so we've been getting some really awesome comments from people, and I just wanted to pop in and say that we could do a Q&A if anyone watching right now has any questions for Shreya or Louise. Just write them in the comments, and we'll try to get to them if we can. And I just wanted to shout out to Shelly Mannion, who's product lead at World of Women. She's been very supportive. She's commenting, and so if anyone has questions, feel free. And I think also we were interested if Shreya and Louise have any tips on what tools creators can use. Like, are there any emerging tools or platforms that you would recommend?
I think if you're a fashion student and you sort of understand patterns to a certain degree, even if you're not an expert, actually, even if you don't know how to use how to make patterns, I would still suggest using Clo 3D for sure. I think it's an essential tool. And if you actually have worked on patterns before, then it's actually a lot easier for you to use that. And you can create any sort of, 3D digital garments or accessories, in fact. And I think in terms of maybe some AI tools to just explore and understand what you want and like sort of I think we all were using Pinterest a lot, and now it's time that we generate our own images and sort of get references which are not from somewhere else, and they're sort of um, something experimental and not something that already exists. So I think those are Mid-Journey, of course, for like AI and references is something that even I use. So I would suggest those two, but I'm sure Louise has a lot more to suggest.
No, I agree. I mean, it's the 3D design tools that we use. We use Browseware and Style 3D and Clo 3D and AI, of course, for ideation. And then there's a company called Offscript. If you're an AI artist, you can go join them and post your picture. And if you get a certain amount of likes, then they will back the production. I think that's quite an interesting concept.
That's cool.
They're garnering quite a big AI following. So it's interesting because it's also testing, because AI isn't created for physical production. There's actually quite a challenge there, but it's a really interesting concept, and I think again, great to give all the AI artists a platform and the possibility to have their own fashion collections. Yeah, I mean, we use Newark as well. It's quite interesting to put in like a CAD or a sketch, and then you can ask it, you can use prompts, and it will come up with like different colors. So like it's handy for building like a range plan through AI instead of having to color it up yourself.
Yeah. I think another one that I use, I mean, I do use Midjourney for this as well, but to create a lot of textile prints, like textures, I have been using that as well. I think you just have to like whether you need reference images for silhouettes or you need reference images maybe for a photo shoot. There's no limit to what you can do with it. So thinking about whichever aspect of the production or sampling or marketing you need these tools for, you should. But Clo 3D is my number one for sure, because I think it's an essential, which I feel like every brand should be using at this point, and it's disappointing if they're not.
Yeah, there's another an AI tech called Hiran, which is tackling overproduction. So overproduction, as we discussed, is generally like 30 to 40%. So it's really using kind of the supply chain and feeding back data from the customers back into the supply chain so that you can get real-time feedback as to what the customers want and kind of change your ordering and change your processing times. So that's good one I would recommend for all brands.
I think even the NFC chips from IYK and Uniquely are the two companies that I have used in the past, and I think you can have your entire supply chain on that. You can engage with the customers using that. I think that's also something that is going to be widely used. So it would be good to get on that for sure.
So we do have a question from an audience member. Would love to hear Shreya say something more about the work she did with Power of Women. Any lessons from the experience for other designer entrepreneurs?
Oh, sure, of course. So, Power of Women is basically Leah and Jack, are behind that, and Leah's the artist on it. And I've always admired her work, and we've been friends a long time. And she basically knew that I have this background in fashion, and I'm doing all of these things, and they wanted to create a collection. So we actually started off with her just creating some textile prints. We sat together, and because I've done that in the past, so I was sort of guiding them through the design process of how it's all going to come together, and what is like more of a commercial print and what is a more experimental one. So we discussed all those things, and then we finalized. We tried a lot of different prints, actually printed them on fabric, like small pieces of swatches, just to test which one is the best one. After a lot of like experimentation there, we came up with, about, I think, six of the best prints that we thought would be good on silhouettes. And then I started consulting with them for the silhouettes as well. Like, what kind of shapes do they like? What kind of detailings, the buttons, threads, and all of those things. So we went into the depth of all of that. And then it was about applying these prints onto the garments. And then I sort of helped them produce that as well. We made the entire collection. All of that was done. Then we have NFC chips also along with their garments. And then I also help them with the photo shoot, like directing the photo shoot, and sort of getting that bit together. I actually enjoy all aspects of fashion, so for me it was a joyride to do this for them, because I absolutely love their work, and I'm sure that their collection is also going to be a massive hit. It's actually launched yesterday, I think, or day before, and I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. So yeah, if there's any other brand that's sort of looking at any other artist, or anyone in fact who's looking to get into the space and sort of understand how things can be brought together and how to go through the entire chain of the collection from starting till the end, they can get in touch with me. I will be more than happy to help, because I thoroughly enjoy it. So yeah, that's what I did for them.
Awesome. That is amazing. Wow. I have a question actually for Louise, and this is early on in the show. You were talking about this whole thing about with hospitality and fashion, and describing going into these places and having this digital first experience. So I want you to take us into the future, like, I don't know, 10 years. I mean, 10 years in Web3 is like a bazillion years. So it could even be like 5 years or something. But like, what is it like being just a regular person, but who likes fashion, who's into travel and experiences and stuff like that? So I'm this person. Describe to me what my life can be like as far as experiencing what you're talking about, this world. Tell me about this world.
So, okay, let me just put my like specs on to traverse 10 years into okay, where are we? We're in.
It could even be 3 in web world. It's like dog years.
So our platform that we built, anybody can come and anybody can design their own collections digitally and make them physically, just like that, without having any knowledge in production. And then you can turn that digital asset into a skin for a game. So then you can just pop up and it will convert. Hopefully by then, all these metaverses, like Unreal Engine, Roblox, at the moment, they're not interoperable. So you can't just convert a skin you can't convert a 3D asset into a skin easily, actually. To convert a 3D asset right now in 3D Clo into Roblox would take a day and a half of a developer. It's not a simple process. You have to go through Blender, and then you have
to. Do you think it will be bridged? Like, are we going to have all these things bridged, and are we going to have like dynamic, like, can the fashion be like dynamic NFTs so that they're going to shift and grow and all this stuff? Tell me.
It would be amazing just to be able to float around, go into one game, go into another game in the same, like, why they've all got different avatars. Roblox got different, everyone's got their own like different avatars, different technical complications to be able to kind of go into these worlds. But just say, for example, it's Unreal Engine. Say that the whole of the digital metaverse is on Unreal Engine, and we've got all these digital worlds, and then you can just convert your digital asset into your avatar Unreal Engine, and then you can just like float around into these different digital worlds. And you can be AR as well, or it can be actual real game. So 2 different experiences. Like AR, you could plug that into you can visualize it. There's a company called Over Reality that are building kind of, instead of it being on Unreal Engine, which is more of a gaming platform where you can go and like you can experience and you can go into shops and you can actually kind of like have a very realistic vision of something. They're creating technology that will enable you to see things through augmented reality. So you could see that space in your living room right here. You know, I mean, they've done like amazing Phygital activations in Milan and different cities, and you've probably seen them. It's you know, just kind of things coming to life in the sky.
Yeah, it's neat,
yeah,
right?
Slightly different. I think there'll be a mixture of mixed reality, you know, and then you could say, well, we'll all be living in our, you know, Apple Vision Pro. We'll all have these contact lenses that will just, it's not going to be this big thing that weighs us down and costs £3,000. We're going to be able to put in contact lenses, and we're going to be in mixed reality, virtual reality, like on and off all the time. Just click a button, and then we'll be in a different world in our a digital outfit and getting validation, and then we'll go back to the physical and go, I really like that, I'm going to make that. You know, I think we'll all and data, we'll all be owning our own data, like the fact that like doctors and, you know, the health system here owns all of our data. Everybody, Google owns all of our data. You know, that's going to change as well. People are going to start to be able to earn their own through blockchain, and we're going to take back the power.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool too, like for if you think of like having a parent like in a nursing home, let's just say, or a family member who's disabled, like people will be able to just do things that they cannot do right now, you know, travel, or people who are, you know, don't have a lot of money, right? But they can go see the pyramids, and, you know, and it's very exciting that, you know, all this stuff. I'm so happy that we're here alive in this day, because it's just neat to it's happening right before our eyes, and not is it happening before our eyes. You women are making it happen. You guys right here. I'm so proud of you. It's amazing. So I just want to squeeze one thing too. I know we're running out of time, but can I just ask Emily, I just want to ask Shreya, like,
Yeah.
Your designs are they're just so colorful. They're so exotic. I want to know what was your inspiration? Like what is it that inspires you to create this world of color?
A dopamine hit that I think everybody needs in their life. Quite literally, I actually started making art and like putting these prints together and have all these bright colors. It was around COVID, and it was just a very, you know, it was a tough time for everyone, and it led me to sort of express myself in that way, because I felt like nothing was sort of bringing the happiness. And to sound deep and profound, I literally, you know, always say that I think it was dark inside, so I was looking for color on the outside, and that's how I actually started sketching and creating all these prints. And then I realized that I'm not the only one who likes them, and there are more people who actually like the colors. And yeah, then I think it was a natural transition to have them on. I would like to put them everywhere, but we start with garments and digital wearables first.
Oh, wow. I'm glad I asked you that. Oh, Em, what's up?
Oh, well, I just wanted to pop in and say, like, we're coming up on like 50 minutes. So I think let's wrap things up. And yeah, like, I guess what's the best way if there's a brand or a creator who's interested in working with each of you? I know you both do different things like consulting, and what's the best way to get in touch?
Well, I'm on all the social media platforms, and so on LinkedIn or on Twitter or on Instagram, they can either find Brushbound or my name, Shreya Bhan, and they should be able to find me. And if anyone's interested in any sort of, you know, help with setting up a fashion brand, or, you know, trying to do it in the best way possible without, you know, sort of bringing the digital aspect to it, they can get in touch with me for sure. And I would love to help out, because I think after 13 years, I can say that I still do love the fashion industry.
The innovative fashion industry.
I call it fashion tech now, because I just don't want to call it the fashion industry anymore.
Exactly. Done with the old fashion industry. Yeah, same. Likewise. Yeah, just you can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram, and then PhygitalTwin on Instagram and Twitter.
It's amazing. Yeah, you ladies are both so approachable and down to earth and just fun to work with. So we really, really appreciate you giving your experience to us. I also wanted to mention, let me share my screen here. So you've each done some content with us. Louise did this really wonderful article. She wrote it about how Phygital is transforming the fashion industry, and you can read it on our website, truestars.media. We also have a more in-depth interview with Shreya as well, and a podcast episode if anyone's interested in listening to that. She really delves into her process a lot more and what has inspired her to do what she's doing today. So just wanted to like mention that. And yeah, you can find out more about each of these ladies on truestars.media. So let's see. So yeah, I think I don't know, any final words, Gwen, to like wrap up? What do you think?
Well, I guess I just want to say thank you so much. You guys are inspiring us. You're inspiring the audience, and you're, inspiring all people. I say young women too, because I think that girls, it's exciting to see people at the helm here, because we need to see that so that they can emulate that. But we love our crypto bros and our tech bros too. So I don't want to be, we're just pleased that you guys are leading us into the future and inspiring all youth, really.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's thank you for having us, and it's good to talk about these things in depth as well, because it's pretty isolating to keep hustling and doing this individually, but it's nice to, once in a while get together and sort of discuss this. And I'm very glad that I'm doing it with Louise, because now we've known each other for a very long time. It's been over 2 years, and we both stand for the same things, and it just made a lot of sense to do this with her.
Yeah. Likewise, been an absolute pleasure, and yeah, I think what you're doing at True Stars is really great, and it's like I feel like it's similar with media to what we're doing with fashion. You're just opening the doors, breaking down barriers to entry, enabling people to be writers, giving people that opportunity that doesn't usually exist in a quite snobby industry as well. So
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's really cool to see how people are innovating with Web3 across different industries. So just excited to be a part of it.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks, ladies. I'm going to end. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day. So thanks for watching.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.